title, when you went. Do you want to give it like 30 seconds so it turns out? Okay. I can change that. So you're gonna start with like your full name. When I ask you the question, just be sure to answer in like a full sentence. Just kind of repeat the question again. So if I say the first question here is what's your full name? Um, just don't say like Rob. Just say my name is this and this. And then your title, and then I was deployed on these dates. You know. Like I'll ask you another question, like what's your reason for joining the military? Just be like, my reason for joining the military was this, Just if you go right to the question, then, because I'm not gonna have my questions in the interview,
Yeah, no.
Just gonna know what you're saying. So.
Looks pretty good.
Okay, it's probably gonna shut off when you leave, but I'll see.
I'll stick around for another 2 minutes.
Okay. So if it's recording right now, is it recording? Oh, this whole time. Okay. So I'll start with the first question. Just start with your full name, where you served, the dates, and your title.
Hello, my name is Robert Knox III. I was in the U.S. Army Reserve, and where I served was Kapoor in Afghanistan. And what my title is, and being in service, I was a combat engineer, sergeant combat engineer. So I pretty much build explosives, put them together with like just simple household products or products that the military gave us. And we also breach houses, took high point targets out, high point target values out of buildings, put them in containment, pretty much contain them, and take them wherever we need to take them in order to interrogate to get farther in our mission.
What dates and years were you deployed?
I was deployed August 1st of 2011, and I came back around November 11th of 2011.
Can you tell me about where you grew up and some memories you have about your years growing up? Like where you grew up, what was it like, draw me a picture.
Well, I grew up pretty much around the Bay Area. I'm actually from San Francisco. That's where I was pretty much born and raised. As I grew older, I started to move around the Bay Area a lot. So it's probably the reason why I know so much about the Bay Area and being able to find my way around city to city. But where I mostly grew up was Army Street of San Francisco. It was pretty much a very rundown projects of some sort. They were 4 stories high, and they were just really just cold, just dim lighted apartments. And it was just it either smelled like beer or pee. It was just either one of those. And that's pretty much where I grew up. That was pretty much my lifestyle, pretty much being used to that.
Do you have a certain memory that you hold with you about your childhood growing up? Was that happy, exciting, anything?
There's so many. I don't know. That's super specific. I would say one memory I have is one of my best friends who I barely talk to. I still talk to him, but he moves around so much that I barely see him anymore, barely get to talk to him because he doesn't even have a phone. But I would say that's a very strong memory because as I grew up, he pretty much watched me grow, mature, and get older. And he used to tell me a lot of stuff. Like, he used to inform me about a lot. And I pretty much learned from him, he learned from me.
Before I go on, see your lavalier microphone?
Hmm?
Can I have your lavalier microphone? Can I have the part that's the micro part be facing sure that part is out and open so we can catch it.
All right.
That's okay. If you can make it like on the side, don't make it like covered by this part, you know. I think that's good. Yeah, that should be okay. Can you see it?
Yeah. If I was wearing a wire undercover, I would be so caught.
Okay, I think that'll be okay. As long as it's like hanging out like the collar, you know, the part that folds or something like that. Because I think it was hidden. So I'm not sure if I got that, but it's fine. If I don't get it, I'll do it in the next part. So if you want to talk about what was your reason for joining the military?
You know, I had a friend named Joe, and I knew him since middle school, and he was doing the Marines. He was so strict and like, he was just so straightforward and strict about the Marines, just like, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. I was like, why? He's like, oh, you get these benefits, you pretty much get benefits for the rest of your life. Like schooling, military pay, all this and that. And that wasn't the reason why I wanted to join the service. I was just interested in what he had to say. It kind of like grabbed my attention. So I was like, let me see what he has to say, see what he's talking about. So I pretty much went to Marine's office and I was letting them know where I was coming from and what I wanted to do. And they're like, oh, well, you qualify very high to be in the Marines, but the only thing is I have tattoos on my wrists. So they're too close, I guess, to my hand, so they wouldn't allow me to be in the military because, like I said, I have tattoos on my wrist. They wouldn't allow that. So I got into the Army just by them requesting me there. Well, let me know information about the Army. So I got real close to one of my recruiters because he kind of grew up the same life as I did. And when I had took the ASVAB test to test out my abilities and how I qualified and what jobs I could have, I did pretty good. I got a 98 out of 100. So.
And what does that stand for, and what is that test exactly?
The test pretty much tests your...
Do you see like the ASVAB test so people know if they're watching?
Yeah, the ASVAB test. I'm not sure what ASVAB stands for. I forgot what it stood for, honestly. But it just tests your English, arithmetic skills, mechanics, and your mental skill. Well, not mental skills, but pretty much your mental state. And my grandfather was actually in the military. He was also in Fort Leonard Wood, which is the military base I trained at. So that also got me interested in the military.
What's something that you remember most, like your best memory that has to do with nature, like what's around you, like sounds or sights or food? Is there anything that you grew up in terms of food? Maybe that was part of your culture or what? As like something that brings memories to you when you're younger, or even now. Or anything sensory like touches or feels or sights that you see that just takes you back.
You know, honestly, what I see and have this, when I see fog in the morning and I have like this scent of, I guess, not burnt trees, but pretty much like burnt wood or so, a little bit of burnt wood. It kind of just gives me that Christmas type of vibe. And how happy I was every Christmas morning. It didn't even have to be necessarily getting presents. It was just seeing so many of family members I never saw or didn't see before. And that's probably why I'm such a morning person, is because I was so used to being up in the morning when I was younger and going outside to see the fog and to have that scent, like that, have that sense of smell. It it kind of like just reminded me of Christmas every time I see it and smell that.
I wasn't expecting that with the fog, 'cause I thought it was foggy this morning.
Yeah.
I feel the same thing this morning. So can you tell me about your family? Like, who's in your family? How many people do you have? And is there anyone that you're, particularly close with your family?
Only, I would say, my mom and my grandpa. They're the closest ones in my family, and the reason why is because.
Could you say I have like two sisters, whatever, and I'm close with my mom because of this. I can make a full sentence. So.
Oh.
So I was a talker in that, so I don't want to talk like you're talking.
Well, I actually do have two sisters and one brother, and of course a dad, but they're all in Georgia, and I don't really get to see them as often as I would want to. So the closest people I'm with in my family is my mom and my grandpa. And the reason why is because I grew up with them all my life, and they pretty much taught me from wrong and right. Since I never had a dad, my mom couldn't teach me how to be a man. So she could only teach me how to be a gentleman and how to treat a lady, but she couldn't teach me how to be like a man. So I had to get that from something else, and that's actually why, another reason why I joined the service is so I could have that discipline and have that, that type of vibe that I'm a man and I'm going to do what I need to do in order to take care of business. So, and